Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord. Welcome to another episode of the Shiny Review. We've of course got two cards to talk about. We have the new Produce SSR for Mamimi, as well as the new Support SSR for Kiriko. Keep in mind that both of these cards are permanent, meaning that you'll be able to pick up these cards in the future on possible tickets, on other banners, so on and so forth. You just need this banner to end before you can find them. So, let's start off with Mamimi. So, Mamimi at 0 stars is a vocal unit that upgrades to a visual unit once she's at 3 stars. Her initial appeal is a vocal 3.0 that raises the judge's interest by 10% for 3 turns and applies interest reverse for 1 turn. The plus appeal, which requires all of Antika, as well as it being turn 4 or later, grants you the flexible effect for 1 turn. Remember that flexible allows you to activate any plus appeal on the following turn, assuming you already had the plus appeal in your hand. So if you draw into it, it won't be active, but any that you already had will be able to be used, which is great. There are some pretty fun plus appeals that you could potentially abuse with a mechanic like this. I'm not entirely sure that Antika can necessarily use it super well right now, but it is something to keep in the back pocket. The upgraded version of the appeal is a visual 4.5 that raises the judge's interest by 20% for 3 turns and applies interest reverse for 1, and the plus appeal is the exact same conditions for the exact same effect. For her passives, her 2-star passive is a vocal visual 100% up as long as your current mental is 49% or lower, has a 20% chance to activate twice. And her 4-star passive is a visual 85% up if you have the full Antika lineup, which has a 20% chance to activate once. Her memory appeal, when maxed out, is a visual 60% buff for 5 turns that links into a visual 4.5 that ignores the judge's interest and hits all judges. So, that's more or less it for Mamimi. She's kind of okay and is mostly carried by her passives and maybe her memory appeal depending on how you feel about it. The interest reverse on her appeals is fine, but the problem is that the numbers that is attached to it are not very high. Meaning that if you're trying to use it as sort of a stall tactic, it's not actually doing anything because reducing the judge's damage by 10% versus improving it by 10% means that it's not stopping anything. And the buff that you're getting after the interest reverse wears off is not very good either. Her memory appeal feels like it's really just trying to not interact with Daikichi or Vocal Antika, which is very funny considering that this card can function on Vocal Antika, and feels a little counterproductive, but I guess that's the idea that Vocal Antika is enough of a nuisance to people that now they have to print Antika cards that deal with Vocal Antika. I'm unsure as to how impactful Mamimi is really going to be. I think the card is, again, fine, but I don't think that she's going to be this huge contender in the higher tiers. I think this card will do reasonably well in the lower ranks. At the higher ranks, though, I think that most people are already satisfied with whatever Mamimi they're already using, and that this card isn't going to make a huge splash by comparison. I'll give this card a B- to a B. I think this card is, again, just pretty okay. Playable, but not really groundbreaking. Next up, we then have Kiriko. Kiriko is a visual support that has a handful of pretty good masteries. The first being Visual Mastery SP, which reaches plus 10 at level 75, otherwise plus 8 at level 65. She has Visual Mastery Stamina, which is plus 5 at level 80, otherwise plus 3 at level 55. Unit Mastery SP, which is plus 5 at level 70, plus 3 at level 60. And Unit Mastery Mental, which is plus 5 at level 75, otherwise plus 2 at level 65. For the rest of her kit, her 2-star passive is a visual 80% up that requires your max mental to be 4,500 or higher, but your current mental to be 74% or lower, which has a 20% chance to activate twice. Her 4-star appeal is a visual 3.5 that reduces your own current mental by 30%. Kiriko is a little better than okay and is a reasonable pickup for Visual Antika. Her masteries carry all the weight here, and her 2-star passive is not the worst thing in the world to pick up. The health cut that her appeal is applying is a little lackluster, but I get what they're trying to go for. They want to pair it up with cards like, for example, My Songs Collection Yuika that also kind of excels off of damage cutting, so there is some potential synergy here, but I think 30% is still a little low, at least for an instant burst. Maybe if it was like 40% or 35% even, I think this would be a lot more reasonable. you might see this appeal pop up depending, because what I do think is great about this Kiriko is that her masteries are very good for visual Antika. Everything here is not really a wasted effort considering how you want to be building Antika in the first place. You have your mental growth and you have your SP growth, which are absolutely things you want to have happening for your team. So I think that this card is going to be reasonably appreciated and maybe will pop up here and there on visual Antika teams and maybe even just generic Antika teams. But I don't think, again, like Mamimi, since they're both permanent cards, that they're going to make a huge splash, but I think that this Kiriko has a better chance than the Mamimi. I'm going to give this card a B+ to an A-. So, that will do it for the video today. This one was pretty quick, so hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, make sure to share it around, let other people know what we're doing here on the channel. And next time we'll be talking about whatever banner comes next. I'm kind of wondering, since we're close to the middle of the month, if we're going to be seeing a My Songs collection here before too long, or maybe we'll have to see a Twicolay before too long. Who knows? But let's look forward to it together. Till then, I've been Cho. Again, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.